Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you this makeup look right here, which is my photo ready makeup look. And what's going down today is I'm going to pick up my new puppy and I'm super excited about it. And this is kind of an everyday photo ready makeup because I'm going to go get my new puppy and I know I'm going to take a million pictures of him and of course of us together. So it's kind of going to be our first family photos and I want to look nice and I want to make a good first impression on my dog. So basically I'm a crazy dog lady now and this is my makeup look for that. But anyway, if you want to see the look that I do when I know I'm going to be getting my picture taken, please keep watching. Since this is a photo ready makeup look, it's all about the skin and making the skin look perfect and appear flawless in photos. So before I sat down to film this, I moisturized my skin, applied my SPF, and then I also applied my Kiehl's Daily Reviving Concentrate just because I've been having a little bit of dryness and I want to make sure that that stays at bay throughout the day. So I've already done all that and kind of allowed it to sink in. And then I'm going to move on to a primer. And today I'm going to use my Glow Skin Beauty Mattifying Primer. And I chose this one because it really helps the look of my pores be minimized and helps keep me matte throughout the day. So even though I'm oily and I'm always going to get like some oils peeking through, this really kind of helps the longevity of my makeup and doesn't make me look like a grease ball halfway through the day. But any primer that works for you, that you're comfortable with, is the one you should use. Next up is foundation. I'm going to use the Smashbox Studio Skin Foundation. I chose this one just because this is kind of my favorite color match at the moment. I have the shade 1.1 and this is kind of just perfect for my skin. So for photos, that's really what I'm looking for, kind of the perfect color match that's going to blend flawlessly from my face to my neck. And I really like this one, but other foundations that I really love for photos are Giorgio Armani, either the Luminous Silk or Power Fabric, depending on if you have dry or oily skin, but I like both, even though I have oily skin. And for a drugstore option, I really love just the classic L'Oreal True Match. You really can't go wrong with that. And the Power Fabric and the True Match both have SPF in it, which I've never had a problem with personally with those two foundations flashing back in photos, but just something to maybe test out before you do like a major photo shoot with either of those. But I'm going to take the Smashbox one today and just take one pump onto my damp beauty blender and start applying this to the face. And because this is a photo ready look, you might need several pumps, particularly of this foundation. The pumps kind of come out very small. So I'm taking another pump onto the cheeks and then I'll probably take definitely at least one more all over. And if I'm finding that I need extra coverage, maybe even a fourth pump. Now this is my third pump, which I'm just going to kind of try to spread evenly all over the face. And the key for this photo ready makeup is really just to keep blending and blending and blending until everything looks kind of as flawless as you can get it. The more time you spend kind of stippling on the foundation and making sure that it's all blended together and looking flawless, the better it's going to turn out in the end. It's also super important, especially for photos, to make sure you're blending it up onto your ears a little bit and especially down your neck because you don't want to take a photo and then look like you're wearing a mask where your face is either really dark or really light and compared to your neck. And this is the face fully blended in with 3 pumps of the foundation. I think I'm going to leave it there. I could definitely put on a 4th pump to add additional coverage, but I think this is plenty for today. I'm not going for a 2 full coverage look, and I'm not going to any special event or anything. So if I was, I would definitely add an extra pump at least and try to kind of amp up the coverage. Moving on to concealer, I want to get a really full coverage look, so I'm going to use my Tarte Shape Tape Concealer, and this is in the shade Fair, which is a little too light for me, so I'm going to mix in some of my YSL Touche Eclat in the shade 1, which is very pinky, and that's kind of going to even it out and make it a little bit more of an acceptable color for me. But definitely make sure that your concealer isn't too stark and light under your eyes because that will kind of just make a kind of creepy like white cast look under your eyes when you take a flash photograph. So I'm really going to make sure I add in lots of this pinky concealer to kind of make it a better color. And now I'm going to blend all that concealer out. It's a crazy amount with my damp beauty blender. And I use the beauty blender just because it picks up all this excess product and is really going to make it not look so crazy. I've blended in that under eye concealer for the most part, and this is a photo ready makeup, just kind of an everyday photo ready makeup for a day when you're maybe gonna go out, maybe, I don't know, you're gonna be taking selfies or something, I don't know what people do, but this is just kind of the look for when you might accidentally be having your picture taken. For special event makeup, I would definitely take the Tarte Shape Tape even more and highlight the center of my face, so I would put some here, down the middle of my nose, and on my chin, and even along my jawline to kind of really sculpt the face if I was going all out. But like I said, this is more of just an everyday photo ready kind of look, so I'm just going to leave it at under the eyes. So then next, I'm just going to quickly set the under eyes with my Laura Mercier translucent powder, as always. This is almost out, so I'm going to have to move on to something different, but I just take it on that same corner of my beauty blender and press it in to set. In my experience, the first thing to fade from my makeup is always like blush and bronzer. So I'm going to kind of be a little extra and double up today, and I'm going to use the Chanel Soleil Tan de Chanel Universal Bronzer and this is a like angled kabuki brush. And I'm going to pick this up and just kind of tan up the face a little bit with it before I apply my powders. So I'm just going into kind of, not quite the contouring area, but a little bit higher onto the cheeks to kind of bronze up here. And then I'll also take it up onto the forehead where I'm also going to apply my bronzer kind of around my face just to add a little bit of extra warmth. And this will mostly get covered up by the powder, but as kind of all your makeup melts into your face and things kind of wear off, this is kind of a nice additional layer of bronzer to have underneath. So as soon as that like powder, bronzer, and blush fade, you don't just have like a stark white, plain, you know, flesh colored face. This kind of keeps you looking nice and warmed up and like highlighted and bronzed throughout the day. As you can see, I didn't get too crazy with that bronzer, just a little bit to kind of have underneath my makeup. And next I'm going to do another one of my favorite tricks, which I've done in a couple videos before, and I'm going to use my Bare Minerals concealer. This is the Bisque concealer, which is a powder concealer. And what I do is I just tap a little bit into the lid like so, and then I pick it up on my dense brush. This is the Real Techniques Expert Face Brush. That is a tongue twister. And I just kind of pack it on there, and then I apply this anywhere where I either have a large blemish that I'm trying to cover or where I have a lot of oiliness and pores that I'm trying to cover. So for a like event where I'm going to be photographed, I'll definitely pack this all over the nose because my nose definitely tends to get oily and show my pores and kind of have my makeup crumble right away. So I just kind of do this as an additional step to set the nose and make sure that it stays matte throughout the day and throughout any photos I might be taking. And make sure you really get into the crevices so that it's not like cakey around there. You want to really make sure it's set in and not too cakey. And I really like this mineral concealer because it kind of just airbrushes out your pores and doesn't look too like cakey like it would if you applied a bunch of liquid concealer and tried to kind of layer it up. This kind of applies a thin layer and still gives great coverage. I just absolutely love this Bisque stuff. I've been using it for years. So I'm going to take a little bit more, and I have a pretty dark blemish right here and right here and right here, and I'm just going to pack this onto any huge blemishes I have. Another one right here. Another great place to apply this would be just around the mouth. If you get a lot of creasing in your smile lines, this kind of ensures that you're extra set there and that it's not gonna kind of crease up throughout the day. Okay, and I'm all done with the Bisque. That's just really like my miracle working secret weapon product that I absolutely love and I think really makes my skin look extra flawless. So now to kind of set the rest of the face, I'm going to go in with my favorite powder, and that is the MAC Mineralize Skin Finish. I have the shade Light Plus, which is a great, nice color for me. And I'm going to set this everywhere, like I said, even on top of that bronzer, so we're not really going to be able to see that cream bronzer all that much, but as the rest of your face makeup fades throughout the day, that's kind of going to be able to peek through, and it's really going to be worth it for the longevity of your makeup. And especially in flash, if your bronzer is at all shiny, this is kind of going to still be there to provide a little bit of bronze. Now that the whole face is set, I'm going to move on to bronzer, and today I'm going to use my Becca Sunlit bronzer in Capri Coast. And when choosing a bronzer for photo-ready makeup, it's important that you just have one that's a good color match for you. If you're fair like me, you don't want anything too orange or too dark and muddy, and if you're darker, you want something that's definitely going to show up and be a complementary tone to your skin. So I'm using this one, even though it is pretty like shimmery, it's not super shiny. I find that this looks nice in photos, but if you want a matte look, like if you're going to be in super bright flash photography like in a studio or like at a wedding, something when there's like a lot of flash bulb, then I would recommend Benefit Hoola. That's my favorite matte bronzer, but kind of you have to experiment and see which one works best for your skin tone. But I definitely recommend these Becca ones because I find they look the most natural, or at least this one. This is the only color I've tried because this is the best one for my skin. But I find that it looks really natural because of the slight shimmer, and it doesn't like appear too orange and crazy in flash, but it doesn't completely disappear. So this is kind of a happy medium for me. But if I was going to be really extra, I would also contour with something like the Benefit Hoola, but I've just kind of been not into that look too much lately, so I've just been using kind of a light bronzing look like I am doing right now with this duo fiber face brush so that the bronzer doesn't get too intense. But it's definitely okay to go a little bit more heavy-handed than you typically would onto your cheeks, because like I said, that's kind of where I find anyway that makeup fades the quickest. And you want it to kind of last if you're going to be taking photos. And then one last step for the bronzer, I'm going to take that same bronzer but with my NARS Ita brush and just get a little bit on there to go down the sides of my nose, particularly if you're super fair like I am. Your nose can tend to just get washed out completely in flash photography. So I'm not really doing this because, you know, I'm insecure about my nose shape. I'm trying to contour the nose to make it look different. I do this just to add a little definition so that when it flashes, I still look like I have a nose in pictures, because I've had lots of pictures where it just kind of disappears and blends into the rest of my white face makeup. So I'm just going to bronze this up a little bit. I think this really helps. If you're fair, definitely try this out. Just don't get too heavy-handed on the bronzer and you'll be fine. And then for highlight, because we're taking pictures today, I'm going to use my MAC Soft and Gentle, just because this is like my tried and true kind of holy grail highlighter that I just trust and I know is going to look beautiful. And I don't really personally like the look where you have a very defined line of highlighter. This I think looks a lot more natural and just kind of blends into the skin but still makes you look glowing, and that's the look I'm going for. And on a typical day, I would take this down my nose and a lot on my cupid's bow. I'm just going to do a little bit on my cupid's bow because that tends to fade, and I'm not going to take any on my nose because I don't want to look too shiny in photos. Finally, for blush, I'm going to use again an old standby. This is the Clinique Cheek Pop Blush Pop in shade 04 Plum Pop, which is a mouthful. But I really like this because I think matte blushes look best in photography, and this kind of cool tone pink is really great for my personal skin tone, so this is the one that I like. But I also have the Osmosis, very similar version. This is their blush in Peony, which is also kind of a cool tone blush, but this one's just a little brighter, so I think it's going to last a little better and show up a little bit more in bright flash photography. But this is kind of a personal preference. If you like the look of more mineralized, kind of shimmery blushes in pictures, then go for that. But I find that these matte blushes just show up a little better. And I'm also applying this with a pretty precise brush. This is the MAC 168, and this I can really concentrate on the apples of the cheeks and blend back. If you use kind of a bigger fluffy blush brush, you tend to just kind of get a large area of bright pink all over your face, and it just kind of looks a little too much in pictures sometimes. So I like to get a little bit more of a precise application when doing photos. Alright guys, this is the finished look for my photo ready makeup. I hope you enjoyed seeing this tutorial. I went ahead and finished my eyes and lips off camera, but I just wanted to show you guys how I get a photo ready base that I really feel comfortable and confident with when I'm going to be taking photos. So I hope you guys enjoyed. As always, all the products that I used will be listed in the description box down below, and I do upload 2 days a week on Monday and Thursday, so please subscribe down below if you haven't already so that you don't miss my next video, and thank you so much for watching.